Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is John Irwin and this is Excelsior Entertainment. If this view seems familiar, it's pretty much because I'm starting this video in roughly the same location as I did last time, which is Birdwell football field, the recreation ground. The weather is absolutely fantastic. It's just after midday. What are we on? The first day of June or the 2nd of June, something like that? Do you know what? I probably should look at the calendar more often. But anyway, 1st of June they say is the first day of summer. I think it's the 21st of June myself, but that's the longest day of the year, isn't it? I can't believe we're practically on that. Anyway, as you can see, here we are. Now, in the last video, I sort of scooted around Wentworth and Elsecar and Hoyland, and I went to the Belmont afterwards, didn't I, for a drink, and quite enjoyed that really. Probably should have had some more, but I headed home early because, you know, I didn't want to put my bag down and it get pinched. So I thought today, let's try a bit of an accompaniment video. I was going to do this intro down at Woodhouse, but it was so noisy, so I thought, right, I'll come up here and I'll start in this area. So I thought, a bit of an add-on to the previous video, so I'm going to go a little bit closer to Wentworth. I'm going to try down near the garden centre area and get some of the church, a little bit closer to the church. Not go over the top of it, none of that silly nonsense. There's enough videos out there of people doing that. But I think what I'm going to do from here is go over towards Tankersley Church and down the paths there and towards Harley, and go up a little bit further from there onto the coach road and come into the village from there. So, isn't this weather glorious? And should I leave a point for editing where the weather just heads downhill like it did last time? I was reading that apparently we're going to have 50 days of rain. You know, I mean, last year was rubbish, wasn't it? We don't need no more of that. Anyway, I'm sure you can hear the music in the background now, which can only mean that we're heading towards the intro. See you shortly. Well, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, just coming down Black Lane, just leaving the area of St Peter's Church at Tankersley. Heading down here, this eventually takes you down under the M1, near the Every depot. I got loads of drone footage of that when it was being constructed. I suppose when I get down here to the same spot, I should get some updated footage. I don't know. I mean, do you really want to see a big warehouse? Might be interesting. I'll have a nosy when I get down there. But anyway, further along this track, which brings you out opposite the road that takes you into Harley and then up into Wentworth. Further down here is another filming location of Kes. Now, you know that I showed you that little bit of the Sky's Spring Colliery where Judd walked to the mine. Well, in the film, Billy Casper finds the location of the nest at that farm building. Well, that's just down here. I'll try and get the odd photo and whatnot. I'm sure they know that people photograph it for that purpose. I think I might have a little breather and some water, because the weather is absolutely spot on, and there's just the right amount of breeze and wind, but you know, it's still worth having a moment and a bit of cold water. Let's carry on. So I was saying that there down this track is another Kes location. Well, I'll spin the camera around, and that outcrop you can see, a bit of a fallen down building behind those trees. Well, that's where Billy Casper finds Kes.
Incoming transmission.
And there's a text message from my daughter. And I'm sort of half expecting the phone to ring as well, because this wonderful farm had one of those sort of sweet carts down there with bottles of water, duck's eggs, goose eggs for sale. So, you know, there was a little bowl to put your money in, that kind of thing. So I made a phone call and they didn't answer. So I'm sort of, as I'm doing this, rather expecting my phone to ring, because they like duck eggs and whatnot. Anyway, as I came around that bend, I could see over in the distance the church at Wentworth, Holy Trinity Church, because there's two, isn't there? There's the new one with a spire, and the much older church. So at the end of this track, it comes out at the junction point where you turn to go into Harley, but I'm not going along through that part and working my way up. I'm going to come off this path and then turn right and go a little bit up the hill, as if I'm heading towards Chapeltown. But again, not going that far. There is then a left that you can take, and it brings you onto what is known as the Coach Road. I'm sure back in its day that it was exactly what it was named for. Obviously, the Great and the Grand used it for their coaches when they were entering and exiting the Wentworth estate. Or is it the Fitzwilliam estate? I'm not. There are better educated people than me to know all the history of up there. Anyway, there is also down here a railway bridge very shortly. Or rather, not a bridge, a tunnel. Well, both. There's a bridge and a tunnel. And it's the line that brings you from Elsecar and takes you through to Chapeltown. And hopefully, if I time this right, I should be able to get some drone footage of this general area and the train shooting off into the tunnel, into the cutting. And that text message, that will be my daughter telling me what time the trains are. I just made a couple of phone calls, as I said, and one phone call was to my daughter to find out the train times so I could do this. How nerdy is that? Anyway, let's see what I can accomplish. Hey. Well, success or not, did I get the train entering the tunnel? Or did I not? Checked with the daughter again about the train times. Thought I'll wait till it was due to leave Chapeltown at 47 minutes past the hour. And of course head towards Elsecar. Thought I'll get that emerging from the tunnel. So got the drone in the air, got it in position, and waited, watching the battery level on the drone, because you think at some point I have to bring this back so that I'm safe enough to land. And yep, it got to sort of 47, 48, 49 on the clock. And sure as eggs is eggs, the Barnsley to Sheffield train went past and went into the tunnel. So I thought, alright, give it a minute or so. Battery was getting lower. I eventually erred on the side of caution, brought it back, lowered it down, landed it, pitch perfect, rotors off, and the second the rotors shut off, the train from Chapeltown to Elsecar went whoosh. You know, you could bet on it happening, but that was mwah, chef's kiss perfect. So anyway, at least I have the train going into the tunnel, the main Barnsley to Sheffield one, and then I thought, do you know what, I could just reverse it, couldn't I? Reverse the footage. Yeah, it's on the wrong side of the tracks, of course, but nobody's going to know that, are they? Anyway, in front of me then, along the end of this track, you can see Harley is over there, and just about, probably, I don't know what the lens is like on this camera, you can see the spire there of Holy Trinity Church at Wentworth. So I'm going to go over there, and the coach road that I mentioned is up there, and that will take me basically right into the heart of Wentworth Village, and then I'm gonna potter around there and get some more drone stuff, hopefully. Aye, so emerged off that track, got across that busy road and made my way up here. As you can see, I've just come along through that little estate. I've now joined the Wentworth estate. This is known as Coach Road, and it takes you all the way, essentially, all the way through here. Nice little walk, done it many a time. And it essentially takes you up to and into the village. So we'll emerge at the Holy Trinity Church. Let's continue our little quest.
Unable to comply.
Inquiries regarding command functions are no longer accepted from your present location.
You know, there are times with modern technology when it gets, and to put it bluntly, right on my wick. I tabbed all the way, I don't know how many miles at that point, to where I wanted to fly the drone to get some of those shots across the field. And it worked perfectly, didn't it, for the train going in the tunnel? But I get to where I want to take off. I get to the point where I'm ready to do it, and it wouldn't connect to the remote control. So it'd let me see the view, you know, but it wouldn't take off. And I think, why? Why do you do this? You know, I was in a good mood, and now I'm in a crappy mood. So I've got a choice. I could wrap this video here and go home. It's just about 4 o'clock. And I could stuff my face with a kebab. Or I'm gonna head from here down towards Hoyland and maybe have a drink there and go home from there. But in the meantime, here in front of you is Holy Trinity Church at Wentworth. So, where were we? Ah yes, technology, isn't it wonderful? Yeah, it wouldn't connect up at Wentworth, so I got that bit of footage of the church up there. Set off out the village, and I thought, do you know what, I'll come down, come towards Hoyland and whatnot. I'll go down Burying Lane and I'll go to that point where I was previously. Plugged everything in with a drone, and wouldn't you know it, it connected straight away. So, got a bit of footage there, and I got a bit of footage exactly where I was a fortnight or so ago. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is make my way up here, up Stead Lane, onto Skyers View Road, and nip in the one stop up there and get myself an ice cream and probably go home from there. But we'll see. Alright, a little after 5 o'clock then, this Sunday afternoon. And I think we'll call it a day, I think, for this walk. I'm on Stead Lane. I'm just short of coming onto the Skyers View Road part. As I said, I'm going to nip up to the shop at the top. One stop, I think it's called. Get myself an ice cream and get a taxi home from there. As usual, I don't know how many miles, but I'll do my thing. Go on Google and check the mileage. One thing that I do recall is on my last video I was down there near the former site of the Skyers at Spring Colliery, and one of the lads in the pub, they watched the video and they were telling me that they'd had stories from their parents, grandparents, that back in the war, and I'm assuming the Second World War, that the colliery or the railway line or whatever transported tanks, obviously for the war effort and whatnot. And he was told that there's a possibility of a tunnel under the site somewhere, and he was also telling me that there was a large round object or something up there, and he reckoned that it might have been the site of a anti-aircraft artillery gun. And would I be interested? So I'll do some investigating and see if said stories are true. And what's the other thing? The moustache is coming off. So the next video I shouldn't have this moustache. But in the meantime, I will see you in the next video. As I always say, please like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.